Good morning, or afternoon. I suppose it depends on what time of day it is for you all. It's morning for me. So, you guys need to have your workbooks on page 442. So pause the video and go get your workbooks if you have to. So now that you have your workbooks, I want you guys to read these first two paragraphs right here. You don't need to box it in, just read it. So this is a little bit of what we talked about on Friday, and it's talking about what probability is. So it's the likelihood that an event will occur. So how likely is that thing to happen? And it can be anywhere along this whole spectrum, from impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, certain. We can also assign values to it. So certain is 100% of the time, or 1. Impossible is 0% of the time, or 0. As likely as not. So it's as likely to happen as not happening, like flipping a quarter, flipping a coin, 50%, 0.5, or 1/2. So for all of number 1 here, we're going to tell whether each event is impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. Then we're going to say whether the probability is 0, close to 0, 1/2, close to 1, or 1. A bag contains pieces of paper labeled with the numbers 1 through 100. One piece of paper with the number 13 is selected at random. So the question is asking us to state whether picking the number 13 out of the 100 pieces, is that impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. So there's only one 13, and there's 100 pieces of paper. So it's not totally impossible, but it's not very likely. So it is unlikely. So we're going to write on the line unlikely, and then we need to give a value. We need to pick a numerical value for it. So 0, close to 0, 1/2, close to 1, or 1. So it's not 0 exactly, but it's close. It's going to be close to it. So we're going to write close to 0. So you're saying you're describing it with a word. You're doing two things for these. You're describing it with the word, and then you're describing it with the number. So the words you're choosing from are impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, likely, or certain. And the numbers you're choosing from is 0, close to 0, 1/2, close to 1, or 1. So you're going to pause the video, and you guys are going to do B, C, D, and E. Good luck. So for letter B, 2 standard number cubes are rolled, 2 dice. The sum of the 2 numbers is 1 exactly. There's no way to do this because I can't roll a 1 on one of the number cubes and a 0 on the other. That would add up to 1. This is impossible, and the probability is 0. For letter B, a number cube is rolled, and the result is an even number. So we're just rolling 1 dice. The result is an even number. So the even numbers I could have are 2, 4, or 6. And there are 6 different numbers that I could have rolled. So there's half of them are even. So this is as likely as not. You could have said 1/2, or 50%, or 0.5. A bowl contains 26 discs. Each disc is labeled with a different letter of the alphabet. A consonant is selected at random. A consonant is the letters that are not vowels. Not A, E, I, O, or U. Well, there are 26 total letters, and 5 of them are vowels. So therefore, there are 21 consonants. I spelled that wrong. That's okay. That's more than half. So this is likely. And I'm going to write close to 1 for my numerical value. 12 middle school students are selected to complete a survey. None of the students are in 10th grade. Well, middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Maybe it's just 7th and 8th, but it is certainly not 10th grade. So how likely are we to pick a student who is not in the 10th grade? It's absolutely certain. All of the students that we pick will not be in the 10th grade. All right, let's look at the next page. Often the same experiment is repeated many times. Each repetition of an experiment is called a trial. And each result of a trial is an outcome. A set of one or more possible outcomes for a trial is an event. A sample space is the set of all possible outcomes for an experiment. So we're going to do an experiment. You're going to do an experiment. Roll a number cube 10 times. How likely is each event in the table? This table right here. So that's what we're trying to figure out. What is the sample space of all possible outcomes when you roll the number cube once? So if I just roll it once, what could I get? Pause the video and write what you could get under 2A. I could roll a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 5, or a 6. That's my sample space. That's what I could get. Roll a number cube, so B says, roll a number cube 10 times and record the number of times each event occurs in the table. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Google, pause the video and go to Google, and you're going to look up roll a die. So I Googled roll dice, and this comes up. The blue one, this like teal colored one here that has the 6 on it, well, I don't want 2 of them. I can just tap on it to make it go away. There we go. Okay. So I have one 6-sided dice here, die. I tap roll, and I rolled a 1. So I go back to, I rolled a 1. So I rolled a 1, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That happened 1 time, so I'm going to put 1 tick mark. Roll an odd number. Roll a number less than 7. So I rolled an odd number, and I rolled a number that's less than 7. That was my first roll. So that was my first roll. I'm just going to use those numbers over there to keep track of which roll I'm on. So I roll again. I rolled another 1. On my second roll, I'm going to cross off the 2. I rolled a 1, I rolled an odd number, and I rolled a number less than 7. So you're going to keep doing that until you have rolled 10 times. My third roll, I rolled a 4. So that's 1 here. It's not odd, but it is less than 7. So you're going to do 10 rolls and fill in your frequency table. Pause the video and go ahead and do that now. Okay, so your frequency chart is going to look different than mine, and that's okay. I did 10 trials, and this is how my trials came out. Yours is going to look different, and that's okay. We all did the same number of trials. C says, how many trials did you perform? We did 10 trials. We rolled the die 10 times. We did 10 trials. How many events did you record? 1, 2, 3, 4 events. Judging from the results of your trials, which events are certain when rolling a number cube? Pause the video and go ahead and answer that now. So, rolling a number less than 7 is absolutely certain because there's no numbers greater than 7 on my number cube of 1 through 6. Letter E, judging from the results of your trials, which events are likely, which events are unlikely, which events are as likely as not. So our likely events are ones that are more than half, but not 100%. So my likely events, rolling a 1, 3, 4, 5, or 6 was likely because that happened to me 8 times. Unlikely is rolling a 2. As likely as not is something that happened half of the time. I rolled an odd number 5 out of 10 times. So as likely as not is rolling an odd number.